what they call human settlement zones, which I'll get to. And part of this Agenda 21 is for an enormous cull of the global population. And I'm not kidding when I say cull. I'm talking coming down to 1 billion or half a billion in a world now of more than 7 billion. In 1979, these appeared in Georgia. They're called America's Stonehenge, the Georgia Guidestones, they call them. No one can put their finger on where they came from, who was behind them, and all the rest of it. They're aligned, astrologically aligned, and there's writing of them, written in stone and all that stuff, in different modern languages, some ancient languages, I think including Babylonian. And they call for the population of humanity to be maintained under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. A draft copy of the United Nations Global Biodiversity Assessment calls for the world population to be reduced to some 1 billion, and Nick Rockefeller told Aaron Russo when that conversation took place that the population was going to be reduced by at least half. Whichever it is, there are massive reductions in population. And this guy, Gates and his missus, through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are absolutely bloody obsessed, Bono's mates, with what they call population reduction. This is the image, the eye again, of this international hygiene meeting or event in Germany. And people don't realize that Hitler's race purity program was orchestrated from America and Britain, not least through the Rockefeller family, who paid for a whole floor of a German university to be occupied by Ernst Ruding and his team. Ernst Ruding was Hitler's race purity expert. And the Rockefellers, who were big time into eugenics and all this stuff, they sent eugenics experts to Germany to help and promote and give them information, backing and expertise in the program. The way that they plan to cull the population is cumulatively and in some ways directly. The cumulative is through vaccinations, through genetically modified food. Americans are awash with genetically modified food through genetically modified corn and stuff. And the impact on American health is catastrophic. Why wouldn't it be? Fluoride and stuff in the water, hunger, also manufactured disease and radiation. And also, what did Dr. Richard Day say in 1969? Euthanasia and the demise pill. Limiting access to affordable medical care makes eliminating the elderly easier. We now have this Liverpool care pathway where doctors are deciding, often without even consulting the family, who is going to have their withdrawal of food, of fluids and of drugs so that they die very quickly. It's not the care pathway, it's the death pathway. We also have this situation in America with the death panels deciding who gets treatment and who doesn't among the bloody elderly. It's euthanasia. That's what it bloody is. And here, in terms of reducing the population, how about this? First of all, sperm counts in many parts of the world are plummeting. Why? They want to reduce the population, plummeting. And here's one. The third generation of rats fed genetically modified food becomes sterile. And there's a company, a biotech company, a small one in California called Epicite, and they came up with something called the Epicite gene. You know, long ago today, when we started, and I was talking, well, crazies, okay, crazies. What they did was isolate the gene that makes people sterile. It is a gene which, if it becomes part of your genetic structure, attacks sperm. It attacks sperm if you are male and kills them, so you are sterile. And any sperm entering the female that has that genetic part of its structure, then attacks the sperm and kills it, so they're sterile. Now, why would you create that? Well, okay, I don't know. But what did they then do, Epicite? They genetically engineered that gene into frigging corn. And then we go the next step. Monsanto and DuPont set up a joint venture to take over the epicite gene and commercialize it. And if anyone thinks that, this is an exaggeration involving reduction in population, this is a map of America under the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, the Wildlands Project, and it is America that they want to see under Agenda 21. If you can't read the words, I'll tell you this. The red bits are for little to no human use. The yellow bits are for highly regulated use. The only bits for normal use are these bits here and there that are in green. And they have to therefore clear the land to bring this about. And that's what they are doing, which explains so much that is going on that people don't say, why are they doing this? I'll tell you why they're doing this. Agenda 21, get them off the land. There's now a rural White House Rural Council, which has all the government agencies, including the Department of Defense, to help rural communities. No, it is to rid rural communities of people under Agenda 21 and under eco-fascism. One of the things they're doing is creating more and more and more environmental regulations to make it impossible for small farmers and small growers and small landowners to survive in the rural communities. And therefore, they're destroying the rural communities to get them off the land. They're sending in these SWAT teams, bloody Keystone bloody cops, to treat decent people trying to grow organic and raw milk, produce raw milk. They're treating them appallingly, brutally, horrifically. And they are designed to get people off the land. Monsanto, no food shall be grown that we don't own. And more regulations to get people in a situation where it's impossible to continue. And who moves in? The corporations to take over the land. More and more we're seeing, so many stories on my website recently, more and more people are having their community gardens destroyed because they're told it's not in the zonal regulations, even though people are hungry and are getting the food for nothing. They're being banned from growing food in their front garden and all the other stuff at a time of great economic challenge. And this is what Dr. Richard Day said in 1969. Growing food will be banned by saying it isn't safe, and the state corporations will control all food production. The supply and distribution of food will be monitored so that no one can give food to a fugitive of the system. And they're also doing it by changing the regulations to stop people growing food at home. So that all these things are coming together so that only the Food Inc., big food, will control the food chain. And who gets food? Those that conform to the system. And they're doing it in other ways. When in 2011 they had those floods in the Missouri and Mississippi rivers, the US Army Corps of Engineers announced that they had to blow the levees, I think it was on the Missouri, to save the people further down the river. So they blew the levees, and this is what happened to the land of small farmers all around that region, destroyed. 3 weeks